spike in my hair today, this evening. Yep, microphone's working, camera's working. The usual. Grown really fond of this test, it's just like fun. Although, I mean, the camera lag's gone up by about... The camera lags have gone up since the last time I tested it, which was literally 5 minutes ago, and then you realise you're never going to get it right. I mean, it's not worth trying, I guess. I'll just hope for the best. It's a really terrible camera. Well, I mean, I'm using an Android. Androids are not particularly good at anything, but certainly out of their comfort zone when it comes to being a camera. Looks okay. And yeah, now as far as chat is concerned, I'm just going to use this phone from now on. Dreg's Android. This phone is even worse than the previous Android. That's why I call it Dreg's Android. It's connected to chat by IRC. Hopefully it works. I mean, I don't know if I can get it focused. Yeah, seems to work fine. So I'll just leave it here, and hopefully, you know, if I spot a random message, the average of one message per 3 hours, then I might actually come up here. I might see it. Well, we'll see how it goes. I don't know where's a good place to leave this. Yeah, let's just leave it down here. On my stomach, it's sort of going downwards. I mean, ooh. There's nowhere better, is there? Not really. A decent place to leave it would actually just be here. So maybe I'll build myself a stand next time, just like add to the rack here, this like box that I'm using as a camera stand. But for now, I'll just leave it, you know, here. See how it goes. Okay, cool. That's enough rambling about nothing. What we're doing now, this session, I am kind of getting tired of like how sort of easy it is, and yet at the same time I have to deal with all these details. So I am honestly, well, I mean, it's a question of experience, obviously. Not knowing Go obviously holds you back. But I am literally, I mean, just to give myself a bit of a kick up the backside, I am gonna just go hard, try to just knock out, not just I think the rest of part 1, but also part 2, because part 2 seems like complete piss. I mean, part 2 doesn't actually seem like it uses anything outside of standard algorithms, like, and there's basic algorithms as well, so it should be fine. And I'm quite happy just before I get started to just chill out, have some Irnbro, Ironbrew, Irnbro, pretty much. This mug I got at thanks to a recommendation on the Pokemon Go Discord. Just someone in America makes solid TV mugs. I might actually bring in some actual tea next time. But this is TV on the Irnbro. Fluorescent orange liquid. Okay, well, we know what we're doing. We're doing reduce. Do reduce, I think it's called. Do reduce. Yeah, quite happily. Let's get on with it and do reduce. Evening sesh is live. Fairly light chav present. common reduce is the one, and so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do literally exactly what I did last time. So common map, massive block of text telling me what to do. I just fucking went and did it, didn't I? The madman. We'll see if it's right. We still don't actually have enough information on whether it's right or not, because the test doesn't complete, like, it has, like, I'm guessing a half dozen tests it runs on your code, but it can't even finish the first one because do reduce is not implemented. But it seems to pass the first test on do map, so that's promising. So I'm just going to do that again, so let's get on with it. Do reduce manages one reduce task, as you would expect. You know, it should read the intermediate files for the task, sort the intermediate key value pairs by key. Okay. Don't know if there's any particular reason we need that to be sorted. User defined reduce function gets called on each key, and we write all of the output to the disk. Yeah. You'll need to read one intermediate file from each map task. That's the exact one that we're reading. You know, M is the, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's all completely sort of what you would expect it to be. The signature, right? Again, there's a name of a task. We don't know what the name is. Doesn't matter. Then the integer representing which task it is. That's quite important. The output file. Write to the output here. Okay, so yeah, that's where the output is going to be saved, presumably the file name. Not that we get to test it ourselves, because I have no idea how to do that. I'll try to find out and do it later, but for the time being I really don't know. I mean, I definitely have a cold, so, like, there's no doubt about that. I have that early summer cold, you know, the early May cold or whatever. Oh, it's fucking end of May, isn't it? I expected it about a month ago, but nmap is the number of map tasks that were run. M in the paper. If only there were a picture. There probably is a picture in the, you know, the diagram. What do I mean by the diagram? That was a very circular thing I just said. No, there was probably a picture in the original paper that's used for MapReduce. So yeah, reduce f, and that's what reduce f is. Okay, let's just do it out of the code. I'm not even going to dig up my notes. One reduce task. It should read the intermediate files for the task, all of them. Yeah. Because we run. You know, let's just assume. I don't know why it says at least once, but let's just assume do map and do reduce are both run precisely once for each map task and reduce task respectively. We know sort of from the file names, those are nice to sort of get your head straight about what, like, the map tasks and the reduce tasks are. Like, they are numbered from 0 to whatever. That is a flea. I'm a little flea. Yeah, and so, you know, do map manages each one of the map tasks, and do reduce each of the reduce tasks, and you have those files that are the map tasks x the reduce tasks. It should read the intermediate files for the task. Yep, that's the start, but that means that we are reading all of the map. There are nmap intermediate files per reduce task, right? Because it's nmap cross nreduce, and so for each nreduce there are nmap of those files that we need to pay attention to. And yeah, those get sorted by key. call these define reduce function for each key and write reduce f's output to disk. Okay, so let's number it this time for clarity or whatever. For the lols, numbers, always good to number for the lols. We call them interim files. 2. Sort the pairs by key. Don't know why you would need them to be sorted by key, honestly. I have no idea. I guess it's just a standardization of the implementation. You expect it to do that for some reason. Why not? I'll do it myself. Cool, yeah, reduce f on each key, and the lag. I think the lag is hardware acceleration. That's usually what causes this kind of lag when scrolling. Don't really know why that happens. Maybe the GPU is busy. I mean, it is quite busy. On the whole, it's like running at over 50% most of the time because of the streaming. It's 100% there for a sec. Temperature is not too bad because we have a cool breeze coming from the outside. Cool breeze on the... Rock that shit, homie. I put this together to number 4. Right, reduce f's output to disk. So, write output of reduce f to disk somehow. We're gonna copy in the details. So let's go for it. One intermediate file from each map task. This is the file name for map task M. Because don't forget, map task, reduce task, and job name. Job name is the same for the entire job, of course. But it's like a thing that just identifies what's going on, I guess. Yeah, one of them ones. Cool. Check it. Reduce file name. Yeah, I'll just call it file name just so I don't forget, you know. Your do map encoded the key value appears in the intermediate files, so you will need to decode them. If you use JSON, you can read and decode by creating a decoder and repeatedly calling .decode on it until it returns an error. Hey, that fucking Go idiom, until it returns an error. Seems a bit silly to do that, doesn't it? Well, yeah, when it says encode and decode, it does just mean into JSON, into like columns of JSON. Like we've seen the files, they are just columns. Sorry. Yes, in the file is literally a column, a single column of JSON rows. Each row is itself a JSON object. JSON. JavaScript object notation, you know the one. Yeah, create a decoder and repeatedly call it on it until it returns an error, and we do that per file, so we can just synchronously loop through each file, through each key in each file, you know. Yeah, that's okay. You may find the first example in the Golang sort package documentation useful. Goose chase, why not? Let us chase geese. sort. Okay, let's scroll to the first example. First example's a bit on the long side. These are your people. Don't really know what this is. Well, I mean, I get the idea of what it means with these methods, but it's going to take a bit of work to figure it out, to be honest. But at least it has, it has both of them down as examples, which is nice. So this is, sort.sort. What is sort? Is sort a package? Yes, it is. Interesting. Okay, I guess we are importing sort. Well, we're going to be importing a bunch of stuff, not least JSON. Is it called? Yeah, it's called encoding JSON. Probably FMT would be good to have as well. Yeah, so what is it saying? Sort has a sort method and it also has a slice method with a custom less function. One can define a set of methods for the slice type, such as with byAge. Do we have, where is byAge? byAge implements sort interface based on the age field. Is byAge even defined anywhere? Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is the thing that Go does. When it's defining methods, it defines them for all of the types that can take those methods individually, and then it just says, okay, I have a this declares that you can implement sort interface for an array based on, for the person, the array of people based on the age field. I'm not completely understanding of what this is actually doing, but I guess it would be good to get your head around it. It's kind of, yeah, it's basic, I guess, in Go to be able to do this kind of stuff. I skimmed over, in the tour of Go, I skimmed over the stuff on methods and interfaces because it was just too long. But I mean, I get the gist of it, so it's just going to be a bit of time to work through it mentally. This is all to do this random sorting step. I'm thinking I'm going to leave this until the end. Leave the challenge until the end so you get a bit of momentum going. The sort section is what that is. So where were we? Do map encoded the key value pairs in the intermediate file, so we need to decode them. If you use JSON, you do that, and then it tells you about the sort. This is the reduce function. You should call it once per distinct key. Distinct key. I mean, if it's sorted, I guess, is this why we sorted it? If it's sorted, then in order to ensure distinctness, all you have to do is cache the previous entry in the list and compare it against that. Because if things are sorted, then if the same thing appears, it will appear next to itself. So having a cache, like caching the previous element, when you're looking at an element, will catch if there is two or more in a row, which would contradict distinctness. And I mean, in that case, you would skip, right? That's how you would do that. So I think maybe that's why we sorted. That literally could be the reason. To do that without sorting, you would want to you would want to use a dictionary, like build out it's like a cache, but it's not just one element, it's like a full dictionary, where everything you find goes in the dictionary, and if you find it again, oh, it's already in the dictionary, therefore you skip it. Those are like, I guess, the two approaches off the top of my head for doing stuff uniquely if it's not ordered. That makes sense, I guess. You'd want to save the computation if something has appeared twice. Fine, I can do that. It's just another hoop to jump through, to be honest. It's such a minor thing. With a slice of all the values for that key. Oh, really? What? ReduceF is the application's reduce function. You should call it once per distinct key. Yeah? With a slice of all the values for that key. Okay, I get it. Maybe the key is used to identify what needs to be reduced into one thing. I mean, we have buckets for reduced tasks, but is that the same thing? I don't know. ReduceF returns the reduced value for that key. Okay, and then yeah, you should write the reduce output as JSON encoded key values to the file named out file. We require you to use JSON because that is what the merger then combines the output from all the reduced tasks. That combines the outputs from all the reduced tasks expect. Nothing special about JSON, it's just the marshalling format we chose to use. JSON is really the best marshalling format, everything else is just kind of ah shit, I'm out of in brew. I don't know if I thought there was more. Fuck that. Alas. I should put this somewhere else, like, yeah. Your output code will look something like this. This is the new encoder. There's no example of a decoder anywhere, but never mind. Certainly have never worked with a JSON encoder. It's another black box. So many black boxes in this project, you know. I mean, I've worked with JSON plenty of times, but like every time I've worked with JSON, I did it myself. Like, because the format is like completely easy to understand. I guess it's also native to JavaScript, that makes it a bit easier. But I mean, even in Python, I've worked with JSON. It's perfectly fine to do it without the fucking black box. It's really sort of the laziness in this task. But maybe the task is just long. The coursework as a whole, I guess, might just be a bit too long to not do that. But yeah, never mind. Let us not complain too much. I feel quite posh when I continually say let us. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think what we want to do is assemble a full-on dynamic list of every key value pair that there is. So we're going to make a key value array, well, a key value list. It's gonna be yeah, that's the thing that needs to be sorted. You know, the list needs to be sorted. But it needs to. What are we doing? Sorry, lost the plot slightly. We need to read all the files and then merge them, essentially, is what this is saying. Unless you want to sort the files individually, there's probably no reason to do that. Merge all the files and then sort them. So we're going to merge them in memory rather than on the file system. No need to merge on the file system. So let's just do that. First, yeah, all the files need to be read. Yeah, the inexperience with Go is really showing me up now, because I know what I want to do, but I just have to figure out all the routines to do it. But I want to actually press on, so I'm just gonna like bang my head through the wall and try to get it out. So yeah, okay. What do we know how to do? We know how to read files, so let's just read the files. Jesus, the fucking lag. Look at that. Really abysmal piece of software. So we have an example of a read file down here. So I'll go ahead and copy that. Again, this is the what was it called? Slurp read. I love that. Reading everything into memory. This, yeah, we're gonna, well, obviously we have to for loop over all the map tasks. Oops. How many map tasks? Nmap. Is nmap an integer that's present here? Yeah, there it is. See, it's in the signature nmap. That's good news. Need that there. Yep, and so we're gonna for loop running pretty much. Yeah, I'm completely happy to just run this identically. Input bytes and input, and what happens is all this shit gets merged. This needs to be tabbed. Yep, looks good. Should have just cut all of it, to be honest. So this is what I was saying. What we want is a key value array of all of the data. I mean, the data is what we are reading from. Oh yeah, I should specify what we're reading from, shouldn't I? Yes, you should. File name. Well, it says what the file name is somewhere. Where? Here. Reduce name. Was the previous one called like map name? No, all of them are called reduce name. I don't know why. Cool. It seems vaguely symmetrical whether it's like map or reduce, because it's literally in between the two. I'm gonna just do the cold, the sneeze. Cool. Thanks for bearing with. Yeah, file name is reduce name. Job name. Job name is carries through everything. M, and then the reduce task. Perfectly happy just continuing. Oh, should we call it M? M is like the dummy variable for map tasks, and R for reduce tasks. I think that's legit to just do that. So I'll rename it here just for consistency. R for reduce task as well. Probably should have done like a global find and replace or whatever, but I'm still not that familiar with Visual Studio Code. Could have done it. I mean, would have been okay, I'm sure. So at least there's not a lot of code here, so it's going to be easy to test. So those are your tasks. the M tasks, file name. Oops, I thought something weird happened there. Those are the file names. We read from the file name. Have the boilerplate for the error just chilling there. I'll perhaps write a function that just handles errors, and then replace all of these with that function. That's totally fine. Inputs. And so all of this is combined into an input array, which I am going to call something like input array is a legit name. I mean, I'm happy with that. Input array is going to be, we use make in Go to define resizable lists, as in the slices that you get a reference to the container around the underlying array in the memory rather than the array itself. And the reason that's important is because Go passes everything by value, and so if you don't do that, you end up copying arrays a lot. Don't want to copy the arrays, a lot of data. Particularly this, because we are literally making an array that will cover everything, all of the intermediate outputs for a given reduce task, and that's quite a lot of shit. So, it's pretty reasonable to do that. What's the notation for making a resizable array? It's something like this. Key value is the type. Yeah, I think that's it. You can actually specify how long you want it to be here, because if it, it's not really, it's not really resizable in the sense that it will get longer. It will be copied every time it's resized, but I don't know. In order to avoid that, you'd have to predict how long everything is in advance for each of the map tasks, which I feel is probably a premature optimization, so I'm not going to bother with that for the time being. Instead, input array just gets literally every line of input. Yeah, this is the thing. So input is example this looks like this for a given task. So we're not bothering to deserialize anything yet. We don't need to. Serialize is the term for converting in and out of a string-based data representation format like JSON. So it's serialized when it looks like this, and it's not serialized when it's an actual object, like the key value store that's not in text format but is actually like keys and values. I guess we do technically need to deserialize if we're going to run it this way, don't we? So we need to decode. Yeah, because otherwise you're storing it as strings, and you shouldn't do that because you're going to be sorting according to key. Okay, fair enough. That's fair. That means we need to do that immediately, don't we? We need to deserialize immediately. It says you will need to decode them. If you use JSON, you can decode by creating a decoder and repeatedly calling it until it returns an error. Well, it says and KV, that means it's pointing to a key value, doesn't it, rather than a line? No, I think it means the line of text rather than the key value, because decode should be turning it into a key value. Cool. Okay, that's fine. Let's do it. Yeah, try to be a bit faster if I can. File name, blah blah blah. What we need to do is find a way. What does the decoder do? Does it literally return a list? Should we read the documentation for the decoder? It's okay, let's have a look. So common map, we use the encoder. It's json.encoder. Yeah, let's read the documentation. Golang JSON encode. I'll read decode as well. It doesn't matter which order. So type encoder has an encode method. Here it is. Let's have a look at it. Writes the JSON encoding of v, which is an interface that implements something. What does it implement? Oh right, no, sorry. Interface with this actually just means it could be anything, literally anything. Okay, so it encodes. It writes that to a stream. Oh, and it follows it by a new line character. So this is the important bit. Right, so we had the stream should really be thought of as a list, I think, for our purposes. I think at least. So let's have a look at decode. Decode reads the next JSON encoded value from its input and stores it in the value pointed to by v. Okay. Reads the next JSON encoded value from its input and stores it in the value pointed to by v. V should be a pointer to elements of the array or the list that we're going to store everything in, which is kind of strange because I think I have to append a null key value thing, get the pointer out, and then tell this thing to store the results of the next JSON encoded value. There's an example, but also I think it does mean that the original thing is in. Yeah, see, it's in a. Well, it should be a new line format, surely. It should be that encode and decode reverse each other, surely. I would hope so. So here we have a JSON decoder that is labeled with strings, new reader, okay. A bunch of other stuff. I mean, it's just this verbose with lots and lots of just random boilerplate conventions and things. God damn it, half an hour went by since I last clicked on my chat to keep it alive. At least I can see it now, it's good. Yeah, What's the best way for me to do this? Well, try to understand the example. I guess that is necessary. This is the input. It's a string that looks like. I mean, there's a prime here, which I think should specify multi-line text. This is the JSON. It's a list of stuff. I can easily convert. Well, in JavaScript I can. In Go I'd have to look it up, but I can easily convert the intermediate formats of new line separated JSON key values into something along these lines, but I don't think it's necessary. Maybe you can pass a function that does that into the decoder, and then it would help you out when it says message struct. So this is the type we're aiming for. So for us, this is key value. That's the output type. Read open bracket dec token. What the hell does that mean? While the array contains values for dec more. Does it have to be an array? Can it not just be a new line separated? Well, it says in the guide here, it says something like about the decoder, doesn't it? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at map. Should be looking at reduce. Um, you can read and decode by creating a decoder, and then you just keep calling this until it returns an error. But here is the pointer. What that means is, yeah, we do need to, I think, in order to use a pointer to get a value appended to a list, it basically has to be made, initialized. Then you initialize, you get the pointer, and then you use the pointer in order to write the value where you wanted it to be in the first place. That's fine, I can do that. Let's do that. So I'm going to initialize a null key value for every well, this is the input array, and so we're going to for loop across every file. Open file. Is this this is IOUtil read file is the one that auto closes, if I recall correctly. Open file does that. I should say read file actually, because I am actually fully reading it into the input. And yeah, I'm gonna write in a JSON decoder thing, just the same way I did it here. I said, like, at the beginning of this lag. Why lag? What a fucking... Sorry. You know, JSON new decoder or something along those lines. Well, are we sure it doesn't say here what the decoder should be? Create a decoder. Yeah, whatever. There's the decoder. What arguments do we pass into the decoder that reads from R? We're reading from input, IO reader. Boilerplate, man. What went into the encoder file? Oh, the full file went into the encoder. Do we want input bytes? I'm trying to figure out where these people are from who live in this flat for like years. There's a kid called Anne. Could be any language, I mean, well. Could be Arabic, could be Albanian. Anne. I think Anne is the kid. Oh wait, no, it could mean like mother or something. Of course. Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, shit. I have the documentation here. Oh yeah, it decodes fucking anything. Oh no, wait, no. This is a decode. I want a decoder, which is a struct. Yeah, IO reader. What the hell is an IO reader though? Is it text? Reader is the interface. The wrap's the basic read method. Yep. I think you could pass anything into reader. Anything textish. Anything that has a read method. Probably send in the file input bytes. So I think this is probably unnecessary. Send in the file input bytes. That is your new JSON decoder. So here I called the encoder, yeah, it doesn't matter what I called it. Decoder is going to be called this. So I'm going to run each decoder one at a time. And what it's going to do is, you know, we're going to decode until we run out of shit. So we run decode operations. Okay, let's have a look at the corresponding encode operation and just copy and paste from that. Basically looks like this. Decode, what we pass into decode is actually the destination of the decode, which I still find highly skeptical. What are we iterating over? Wait, I've not copied the right thing. Encode is here. So this is the encoder. It dot encodes to the correct location. Decoder. Okay. But how do you... Oh no, you repeatedly call it until it gives an error. Understood. Okay, that's just a standard while loop. While loops look like this in Go. You know, so infinite loop, we error by running decodes on the pointer of kv. That means we need to define kv as the thing to store. And we need to give it a type. So I'm gonna define it like this: var kv key value. So I've defined a null key value here. I'm gonna use its pointer, its memory address, to run the decode. And if this gives an error, we break. If it doesn't, we append. Pretty much, that works. What's going on? If error is not nil, we break. Else, some people don't write else in these situations to just make it look like a robot programming language or something, but I'm not about that. So what I'm going to do instead is an append. I'm going to just remind myself how append works by jumping back into a tour of Go. Append is a fairly basic idea. Wow. Keep clicking. Click, 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 click. Yeah, quite literally you just append. The first parameter is the original slice, and the rest are the things that get appended. Don't know what the most memory efficient way of doing this is, to be honest. In something like Python you wouldn't necessarily think about that at all. So I'm going to do it the naive, slow way, which, just because it's simpler to write down. I think this is slower than the other way, but if I don't know it's slower, then doing it any other way would be premature optimization. So you've got to know that. Cool. That means I'm just appending. I'm appending to the original list of shit, which is called input array. And what's getting appended is kv. Well, first of all, you need to assign to. Oh yeah, no. See it. What this does is it assigns the freshly decoded thing to kv. It writes it in the memory address of kv. Therefore, that literally is kv. So if I take kv and I append it to the input array, that will do what I want it to do. That should work, and this iterates over every file. It continually appends to input array. And so yeah, by the end of this we have an input array that has everything in it. That's the idea. Input array contains, let's write it down here at the end of this lengthy for loop. Just go up here and say, okay, input array contains every result of the map tasks corresponding to this reduce task in key value format. Yeah, so input array. That's what we are working with. I put this in the wrong place, didn't I? Yeah, it should just be up at the top because that's what I just did. You know, step one. Never did step one. Did step 2 and step 3, but I didn't do step 1. What's that then? Yeah, file name is just literally, I mean, this is literally the same piece of code except with an extra equals and a pseudocode. That's that. Cool. Shall we test this for errors or do the rest of it? I'll test it for errors. Missing len argument. Does it need a len argument? Yeah, see, I wish it were Python. I could literally just do this equals 2 square brackets, be done with it. Fuck it, 0. 0 is going in, I don't care. Cannot use input bytes as type IO reader. Byte does not implement, does it not? What does implement it then if it does not? Okay, I'm gonna just switch it out for string. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch it out for, you know, what I thought might be the correct answer. Input also does not implement IO reader. That's pretty weird. Neither of them seems to implement it. So what does implement IO reader? Golang IO reader. This has got to have like. Oh, this was in the tour of Go in the first place. Huh, who knew? Yeah, I definitely didn't read this part of the tour of Go. Yeah, it specifies the IO reader interface, which represents the read end of a stream of data. Many implementations. There's fucking children outside crying. Such sad face. Yeah, Go standard library contains many implementations of these interfaces, including files, network connections, compressors, ciphers. Yeah. I want a file. That's literally all that I want. The IO reader interface has a read method, which reads byte arrays. Indeed, it does, but I mean, read populates the given byte slice. Oh, okay, no, it doesn't read the byte array. It writes to the byte array. I mean, considering I already have a byte array right here, this is a byte array. I do not know. Like, it's really nice that Visual Studio is telling me exactly what type everything is, because Go is a strongly typed language. You can do that. It's not been that restrictive so far, having it strongly typed. Statically typed, if you prefer. Well, no, they don't mean the same thing. Strongly typed doesn't actually mean anything formally. Input bytes. So what's the problem? I mean, the decoder needs some. Maybe I need file name to go in here. I mean, no. File name is a text. Type string, see? I cannot use that as an IO reader either. But input bytes, literally a stream of bytes, also cannot be used as an IO reader. I think I need to just read the example. So, what does this do? It reads. R is a strings new reader, hello reader. Yep, so is it FMT? Oh yeah, because I can't see because of this fucking, oh, dear lord. I think that was an advert. Okay, so let's read the rest of it. B is a byte array. Okay, so we read the byte array B using r.read. FMT print F, we print bits of array, we infinitely loop that, and what it does is it reads whatever is in B. B is the argument. No, it doesn't. Oh, right, r.read. Oh, it reads into B. Sorry, R gets read into B. And then we print out whatever's in B. R is a string reader. Do you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna just hack my way through this. Like, I'm gonna convert what we already have a string, right? Input is the string version of what we care about. I'm literally just going to convert that into whatever it needs to be in order to go into here. And the way I'm going to do that is by copying and pasting out of this example. So B is what we're reading to, but the point is this is a reader. And this is the string that it's reading, okay? You dig it. So that's what I mean, like R is the, okay, reader is string's new reader of input, and dec reads the reader. So how is that for boilerplate? Save, does that work? Yes, it does. This is what I mean, it's bullshit. Abstract, no, what's the word in maths? General nonsense. Well, not really, because general nonsense actually means something. This doesn't, this is just somebody designed it that way, it's kind of sad. Okay, so enc, what's going on here? Undefined enc. Yeah, obviously that should be dec. Enc and dec. Yeah, okay, so no errors detected in the code. Let's move on to the next bit. Code is a bit shit to look at, but who cares? Yep, this tells us what input array is. Just for readability, I'm going to split this here. No, I'd rather split it. Sorry, I'd rather split it here. That's chill. Two, sorts int and pairs by key. That's the bit that I said I wanted to skip because I don't really know how to sort. But the point is, input array is just going to get sorted by key. So we can just assume that input array is the same thing here except sorted by key. So I'm going to call reduce f on each key. 4. This is the standard bookwork for doing a looping across an array in Go. If there's a variable we don't need, we'll underscore it or delete it. But we'll get warned about that because it actually throws a compile error because reasons. What's the notation? It's range input array. Yep, and that's the for loop. Okay. We call reduce f on each key. Why is it being called on the key? Let's have a read. So you should call it once per distinct key with a slice of all the values for that key. This is the thing. So we need to keep it all into the we need to merge all of the results for each distinct key into a list of results. So we need to redo input array, modify it slightly. I mean, we have the sorting algorithm that's going to do its thing, but then what we need to do is Shall I just do the thing that I said I would do with like the cache? Yeah, I think that's a decent idea. The cache thing. I'll do the cache thing. So the idea that I had, reduce f should not necessarily be getting. This could get complicated. You have to make sure that your thoughts are straight on this, or else it's just going to get messy. Yeah, this session is like I'm not necessarily going to have time to get through all of this as well as the next parts. It's just that inexperience with Go. I can't just. Never mind. Not feeling sorry for myself. We're only an hour in. Let's get on with it. Okay. So we have a sorted array at this stage. You know, this is a complete to do, but yeah, we have a sorted array down here. Sad face. Yeah, so we need to merge all of the keys that are the same. I can do that by creating a completely new input array before I run reduce f on all of the elements. There's no reason you wouldn't do that. So iterate over it twice. You may as well do that because literally just because otherwise it will get really complicated to read the code. So I'm gonna do that. Two reduces. So we iterate over input array once again. Are we gonna edit it in place? It's a slice, so if you edit it, it will edit in place. I'm not sure this is wise to edit it in place. I think that's a mistake. I think we just need a new input array. So yeah, I'm gonna make an input array 2. And I'm gonna make it just to save memory, reallocations and that. I'm gonna make it. It is going to have. It's gonna be a slice, so a list. But it's not going to contain key values. No, it is going to contain key values, but the values are not going to be strings, they're going to be lists of strings. Are you sure that's what you want to do? Well, yeah, that's what it wants me to do. It gets called once per distinct key with a slice of all the values for that key. I wouldn't say it's necessary to do that, to be honest. Why don't you just do the calling in one function and then loop it so that it's like why so much noise? But I'm gonna keep the window open just to keep it cool. Okay, yeah, my thinking here is I literally want to go through it, dynamically assemble lists for each key, and once a key has been assembled, send it off into the reduce function. And we can do that, like I said, because it's sorted. It's going to be sorted at this stage. So I say, what we're going to sort today. What's the simplest way of doing that? Should I just try typing it out? Yeah, just make a cache variable that stores the previous thing. It's going to store the previous key. We only care about the previous key, so let's just call it previous key. Yeah, so initially it's the nil, the empty string. Shit, the empty string is what if the empty string is used as a key? You can't assign nil to a string. You can try. It's not going to work. It says unexpected var at the end of a statement. Ah, yeah, because I didn't write down the new input array. I've decided I don't need the new input array. But yeah, I cannot use nil as type string. What can I do then? Previous key. Yeah, this is gonna have the problem that if I do assign it to its default value, it's going to fail. It's literally gonna break if one of the keys is the empty string. I could give it a key if I wanted to be like unethical. I could give it a key that I know that they're never going to use in the example. Because other than that, I don't see how you can do the first case without doing an exception, saying if I is not equal to 0. I think I'm going to just have to do that. Yeah, okay. In that case, this sentence is fine. So let's just do it. Previous key is a string, and so we have two cases. The cases are that previous key matches, and the other one is that it doesn't match. So the keys are, this is a key value array, so v key is the key. If v key equals previous key, then we do one thing, else we do another thing, and so the two things we're doing are pretty different from each other. What we are doing is, oh shit, that could be another problem. We're also gonna make another just dynamic array. Var, what's it gonna be called? What I want is a list to store all of the values that have been assigned for a given key. So it's like a kind of buffer. The values corresponding to that key. I'm gonna call it something annoying. Value buffer. Can't think of a really good variable name for that, unfortunately. Yeah, never mind. It'll be fine. Var value buffer, and that's going to be a list of strings of length 0 again. So this is what I mean. Value buffer declared and not used. If the keys match, then we run an append. Why can't we append in place? This code is going to be so slow. But you know, what are you going to do? Right, so we keep appending, but at the point where they do not match, we run reduce f. Okay, reduce f takes key string and value string and outputs a string. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the output yet, but the input, previous key, and value buffer. And at the point where that happens, value buffer has to get blanked. It's reassigned to a new make. Yeah, you have to basically do it that way. So, you know, I declared a not used. Well, I mean, in order for the code to not get like screwed up, we need the else case to be run. Does it actually matter which case is run? Wait, which of these is which? Well, this is the case that they are the same. So we're building the buffer, and this is the case where we empty the buffer out and send it off with the previous key. In the case of 0, we have our buffer, it's fine, but we definitely want to build the buffer rather than emptying it out. So I'm just going to chuck in an or I equals 0 here. Okay, fine. I love this. Don't use underscores in Go names. This should be that. I mean, yeah. Honestly, yeah, definitely. Like, Python uses the underscore convention, but the camel case convention, I think that's what this is called, is just so much easier on the eyes, and that's enforced in JavaScript, and that's why JavaScript's easier to read on the whole if you're using long word names, as in names that are multi-word. Many word, many word. Too many word. We need some more numbers in here. Many. Yeah, okay. Probably does the right thing. Okay, well, oh right, yeah, so reduce f, this needs to get assigned to something, but what? Reduce f returns the reduced value for that key, and whatever that is, it should be a JSON encoded key value. Okay, what? Well, we are producing one file, aren't we? Yeah, it's all going to out file, and so we need to make we're going to be combining steps 3 and 4, because we need, at every point where reduce f is called, it needs to send it out to the JSON encoder. So let's just write one of those at the beginning here. Handles output. Yeah, what this processes inputs array. Handles output, right? That's going to be enc is our newer keyword in Go. I don't think it is. I think you're just supposed to write something like, oh yeah, okay. There's actually a routine JSON.new encoder. And something that implements a writer interface. Well, we've already done one of those. We built an encoder up here, and literally we passed the file in. Okay, yeah, so we need to run this. You're right that this is just, I don't need that to be there. I'm gonna test it, and then I'll put in print statements to debug it if it needs to be tested like that. I might even try using the inbuilt debugger. Maybe. It's just hard to know how to use those unless you have someone who's familiar with the routine literally showing you. So, you know, in a company environment, that's what you would want to happen. That's your mentoring. Because it's really easy to, once you know how to do it, it's literally just learn which buttons to press. And there's no other reasonable way of learning it, in my opinion. Yeah, so handles output, let's make the file. Yeah, file error. Variable name is probably going to need to get sorted out later. It's called out file, isn't it? The destination. Yep, we have generic error codes here, and encoder is the encoder to file. So we encode, run the encode. We're going to need to defer a file close. at the point where the file was made. Where was the file made? Up here. The encoder which I built at the beginning, runs like this. It encodes the KV. It's enc.encode with a pointer to what we want it to encode. What we want it to encode is the output of this. So yeah, basically that should work in principle. All good. That handles this. Okay, and so yeah, the last thing to do is in order for this method of, this is why we need to sort. This is the question that I asked earlier. Why does it need to be sorted? Because this algorithm here relies on a sorted list. Because it relies on any duplicates being next to each other. Okay, so shit gets real. We have to sort it. Input array needs to be sorted. Okay, this should not be hard. I mean, let's just read the lecture on sorting. Golang sort. Sounds a lot like Golan. Golan in Syria, occupied by Israel since a long time ago. Might even be the 6-Day War. 1967. Sort keys is probably the thing that we want. Sort is a method on the function type by that sorts the Do I need programmable sort criteria? I just need something that compares strings. I'm sure the strings have a comparison operator, a lexicographical sort. I'm sure that is a thing. Alphabetical sort, I should say, because they mean the same thing. This sorts by age. This sorts by age. What we could, of course, do is sort by hash. That is a fairly trivial way of sorting. Without defining your own method. Well, let's find out if it is even possible to sort stuff in that way. So first of all, let's try to do this. A less than B. We are printing the result of that. Go. Imported and not used. Do I look like I care? Go is just such a shit language for prototyping. True. A greater than B. False. That looks like it works to me. So, can I not sort using, well, this is the thing, you still need to pass in, because you're sorting key values according to keys, so there does need to be a custom sourcing method. Yeah, this is what we need to do. Well, this is the code that I've decided to copy and paste. I'm not going to bother understanding how it works exactly, but sort.slice. The slice that is being sorted is input array. Is this an in-place sort? I hope it is. This can definitely be sorted in place, no problem. Function that takes I and j, which are strings. No. It's going to take kv1 and kv2, which are key value type, bool, and it's going to return kv1 dot key greater. Doesn't matter if it's greater than or less than. It'll just sort in the opposite order, but it's still, opposite order is still sorted. Let's not forget that the if you have a greater than order relation, the less than is also an order relation. That gives you the opposite sort. This is it. So we have our anonymous function. Cannot use func literal key value as type func int in sort.slice. Sort.slice requires int, but why? Why would it do that? That seems a bit short-sighted, am I not? Let's have a look at sort.slice. Slice sorts the provided slice given the provided less function. Not guaranteed to be stable. Yeah, but why is the less function working with integers? Surely less can just be a function. Literally any true or false. Let us have a Google. Golang sort dot slice seems to be the most popular one of strings. For example, we're not actually using strings, but it doesn't matter. What the hell is sort reverse? You simply create a less anonymous lambda. Yeah, that's what I want to do, but why is the lambda integer only? This is still an evolving language, to be fair. Maybe it just doesn't exist. What is the shortest way to simply sort an array of structs by arbitrary field name? That's literally exactly what I want to do. Plus. So you only need to provide the less methods. This is probably quite an old answer because there is now something in Go that does that as well in the native library, but less. Oh, the inputs are. Oh, I see. I misunderstood what less is. So less isn't that you're comparing two types. You're actually comparing indices, array indices, which have type int. I mean, I don't know why they don't type those using uint. Maybe just because int is more ubiquitous. Right, and so we are literally sourcing the input array. So, okay, let's have a look at the example again. Yeah, okay, I understand now. Basically, this is what you want to do. Reason being, yeah, I and j are actually indices of input array, and so we pick that out. And by picking that out, we have, the input array at I that has type key value, and dot key then gets the string out. So it's just another notation for the same thing. Literally though, that's it. I'm done. Let's see if it works. I'm going to very quickly set the default text size on bash, git bash to be something like 12, something nice and actually readable, legible. Okay, yeah, and we have to run the boilerplates in order to sort the yeah, all this stuff. Is it possible to like copy and paste this wholesale? It says $command not found, so that's a no. Shall we just make a shell script? Let's call it init. I hope this actually works, for what it's worth. Test init dot sh. What's that? Keep using git to open .sh. No, not necessary. I'm going to use Notepad. I don't know. See why git would be used to open that in the first place. Do you think? You think I remember how to write shell scripts? Like I don't. I hope this is literally what I'm looking for. We are in DS. Bash test init.sh. I think this will do the thing. That seems to have worked. Let's find out. Go path should be the working directory, which fucking what the hell is bash? What is bash? That did not work at all. Okay, I'm gonna spend like 5 minutes just looking into how to do a shell script. To me this looks legit. How is it run? Exactly the same way that I actually ran it. I don't think go path actually works correctly. It doesn't change. I need it to. Yeah, I need it to do the changes globally, like the shell scripts. Bash cd within script. Yeah, basically. One way to get around this is to use an alias instead. Yeah, it works. Okay, so instead of bash I type dot. Because, of course. Yeah, this really tries my patience sometimes, this shit, but never mind, it works. So yeah, we just run the go test and see if it works. We had a few fails. hell is this? Okay, MapReduce 2. Okay, come on, not found. Yeah, I think the reason it's printing all this shit is because it's in verbose mode. Or is it? I don't know. Because it's printing so many fucking numbers, it's just actually hard to test the code properly. How many lines were there? Were there not 100,000 lines? Dear Lord. Like actually, I mean... Let's have a browse. Let's have a look at what new files have been made. Just to sort of see if we're on the right lines. These are, I guess, the input files. The input test files, they look like this. Are they 20,000 a piece? Yeah, looks like they are. And here we have, you know, like an actual worker test thing. Seems to be working fine. And what about the output file? Results. That doesn't look 100% correct to me. But then again, I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know what the test is, what it's doing. Smells of kerosene again. Shall we have a look at test? Maybe this will, you know, go. The actual testing code is go test run sequential. Does it say anywhere what the actual test is? Why is it printing everything? That must be something that I messed up. I'll try to deal with that in a sec. Let me just sort of move myself up slightly now. This actually did turn itself off. I managed to not look at it for half an hour. Did I get a message? No. Okay, cool. Oh, it actually says here viewers 0. Yeah. Well, okay, that's fair enough. That's something that I initially decided not to look at, but I got shown it anyway. I had viewers 2 at one point. Trying to get to the end of all this cack, like yeah, I don't know. It is quite dry. I don't really know if I can make it more entertaining, because the actual projects are just kind of, yeah, there's not that much actual serious problem solving at all. At the moment, I'm dealing with such trivial shit like why is my shit printing all this stuff? I can't even see the output, that kind of stuff. Go test run sequential. Where is that specified? Where is it specified what go test runs in the first place? Let's see if we can figure this out. So then we're analyzing the entry point of the shell command. So what does GoTest do? It will look for any tests in any of the files in the current folder and run them. How many files are there in the current folder though? Loads. We are running GoTest out of the MapReduce directory, which means it's running all of the tests, I think. Is it? Yeah, tests are identified by starting a function with the word test and taking one argument of type testing.t. In our case, since we're testing the average function, we named the test function testAverage. Something that looks like this, testAverage, it takes testing t. Well, the fact that it takes this means that you can just find tests by control Fing for these. But where we are running the tests, go test run, sequential. Yeah, maybe I should find out what go test run does. The commands are sorry, I just want to go to the top. So this is the command go. I want the command test. God, the word test does not have come up a fuck son. So yeah, tests packages. Can I find information on what go test does by itself in this massive piece of documentation? Okay, build test flags, packages, build test flags and test binary flags. So I guess sequential is the package. Okay, so the run flag, I guess what that means is it is compiling it, and the package is named by the import path. You know, the package is sequential, isn't it? Oops. Where is that written down? Is there a package anywhere that's called sequential in this folder? Pretty much everything is just package MapReduce. Okay, let's do a global find of the word sequential. Consequential. Nice. We want to be matching case. Because yeah, obviously go is case sensitive. Master go has a sequential function. You know, that's in the MapReduce package. Oh, okay, this exports a MapReduce package. Go test run sequential. Oh, there's a test mr.sh. There's already a shell script for testing, I didn't know that. Maybe I forgot. I'm still pretty confused about the source. Whoops. Let's find in file testing T. Where are the tests? Forget config. Test.go in kvraf test34 lab gob lab rpc MapReduce. MapReduce is, I guess, what we are actually testing today. I'm finding it hard to even figure out what is being tested. Well, you can probably do that if you just try to get rid of all the print statements, because I'm sure that's what's screwing me up. There are no print statements here. Don't seem to be any here either. FMT is removed from here as well. But why then is it printing everything? This is me trying to deal with like teething issues, I guess. Never mind. Well, regardless of how this turns out, I am going to chill and resume this in a day's time, as in at 9 PM tomorrow, just so I can sort of get better at planning my schedule. So in these last 15 minutes or so, maybe another 15 minutes of spare time, I'm just going to try to get on top of the testing mechanism, see if I can figure it out. At the moment I'm struggling. So okay, let's run the tester command again. Yeah, it prints all that shit, then it fails. It's only testing two things. Test sequential many is getting tested. Let me try to just control C in the correct place, just to see if I can. No, that's too late. Even this is too late. I just cannot see up the thing. That completely failed to cancel. Yeah, I can't get it to stop. So I can't see what the other test is. I'm gonna just guess that it's test sequential single. That these two are the yeah. Let's have another read of test. Test sequential single, test sequential many, test parallel basic, test parallel check. Well, the word count example is going to be tested by something else, isn't it? Parallel, I think, is part 3. And then there is also like test one failure and many failure. Yeah. And if I click here, does it automatically run the test? Yeah, it seems to. It's telling me it expected like 100,000 lines in the output, and that's the failure. That's the error that I'm getting for both of these. Let's see if verbose sheds a bit more light. It's definitely not shedding any more light. Expected 100,000 lines in output. Where is output? Output should just be the result, shouldn't it? This thing. Lag. Three, 33354. That's approximately a third of 100,000. Yeah, it is genuinely fucked. As in, yeah. So this is 10, 310, 33. Yeah, it's 33310 should be in the last one. Oh dear. Probably turn Wi-Fi off on this phone, it might be disconnecting arbitrarily. Yeah, there's actually too much lag on this IDE for me to like properly. You can use, yeah, I guess I can use the keyboard. So let's add these numbers up. See how much we actually have. Then so this is 33307. This one is 33336. And this is 33354. So these numbers don't add up to the right thing, they add up to 999,897, which is to say that the last line. Okay, I think there might be a minor bug in the way I'm reducing my reduce function here. So the bug is what's in here. I mean, I think possibly the last thing is getting discarded. The last value buffer is getting discarded. Yeah, because at no point are you flushing the final value buffer. Yeah, I think that's what the bug is. Okay, I'm glad I spotted the bug without too much difficulty. So yeah, to clarify, value buffer, I said, is the list of things, the list of values that's associated to a given key. So for each key, we have a list of values instead of having key value just key values. The flattened list, just the key values with non-distinct keys. We have distinct keys, and the value buffer, well, a list of values, and value buffer incrementally collects these, and every time else is hit here, so every time in the array previous key differs from the current key, that is flushed to the previous key. Which is, all well and good, except when you get to the end, you have something in the well, at every step you have a value buffer and the previous key and the current key, and so in the last step, there is never going to be a flush in the last step, as in it never gets assigned to whatever the previous key is. So when this code returns, you have previous key in memory, and then you have the value buffer, which maybe, well, it's not going to be empty, it's going to contain something. Oh, this is actually interesting. We're not even. Yeah, this code is not right. We should always be appending to the current value buffer. It's just that if the keys differ, we should be switching the value buffer. Is there a simpler way of implementing this that's less prone to bugs? I don't know. It's a bit dodgy, a bit sketchy to have it done this way, traversing. But I can't think of a better way. And this should, honestly, this should be simple enough. So what I'm going to do is do the if case. So I've just negated what this statement was, and I'm going to put this in there and this down here. So now I haven't changed anything, I've just reorganized the code. But the point is the append happens always. If we've done a flush, we still append. We always append. At the end of the for loop, we do another flush. We don't bother, we don't have to flush the value buffer again. We just make sure we run the result in code. And the way I've written this, I've said I has to not be 0. So when I is 0, we definitely do not do a switch, because that would literally write to the empty string, whether or not the empty string is in the original material. Looks good. This is still verbose as fuck, and that pisses me off. I literally do not know how to get rid of the code. Well, we know where the tests are. Maybe we can just modify the tests so they don't print so much garbage. MR, it runs sequential with the map func and the reduce func. Oh yeah, what are the map and the reduce funcs? Here they are. What map does is it just splits into words. Strings, fields, that was the thing that we briefly read in part 2. Is going to be the thing that splits into words. KV, what we're appending is key values, which are the words and nothing. Yeah, so it's some trivial shit. But I mean, even if it doesn't, what we've done so far doesn't get properly tested, it could easily cause a failure in one of the future examples, because all of the code builds on itself. So I should be comfortable that this code is going to be tested, because that was kind of a niggle that was just starting to form in my head. Okay, nonetheless, what is it that is causing all of the shit to be printed on the command line? I just Control F, looking for FMT. These are scans. I don't think that's what we want. make input file. I think this is the code. It fprintfs w followed by that followed by I. Not convinced because oh no, fprintf as in it prints to this writer. No, the problem with fprintf is it's not necessarily printing to a console, it could just be printing to God knows what. It's difficult to know unless you literally run a breakpoint debugger, which I guess you could do, to find out what is causing so much garbage to be written. Other than that, I do not know what we can do. Let's hope it works. Well, once again, it expected 100,000 lines of output. How many did it get? 33308, 33337. And 33355. So what I thought was the error has been fixed, and indeed we do now have 100,000 in the output. Well, it claims there are not. Okay, so what does that mean? This is not giving me any information, it's just useless. Yeah, totally useless. Well, let's go and find out. Test, go. We're doing, yeah, line 84, which is down here. I need to do something about this lag. I'm going to modify the test so it tells me how many things it got. So this will print the expected number, n number, received, I. Received 0. What? Okay, so the problem I'm having is I'm not encoding correctly, I think. You should write the reduce output as a JSON encoded key value. Is this not JSON encoded? Yeah, that's definitely not JSON encoded. Oh shit. There is a bug there. What am I writing in? I'm writing in result of reduce f. What does reduce f output? An array of strings. Strings. Okay, gotta be careful here about the outputs of reduce. It returns the reduced value for that key. Okay, I get it, I understand. So, yeah, we are not... Result is not this, it's actually a key value struct. Reduce f, its key is previous key, and its value, because this is, canonical order. Key is previous key, and its value is the reduce. Yeah, it's annoying having the code duplication, but I'm not fussed for now. I will clean it up later. Okay, let's run the rhythm. Why run. Yeah, dear lord. Run the fucking dollar. Run the redeem. Yeah, I can't. Test 79. Sorry, test 79. What is it talking about? Error expected integer. Line 0, 0 is not equal to 0 error. Let's try verbose. Oops. Verbose. Don't know what's going on with verbose. Well, oh dear, that's not working at all, is it? Key something value something else. What? Got to be careful here. Previous key is an empty string. Are we not assigning? Oh my god, we're not even assigning to previous key. Whenever there is a flush, you have to assign current key to previous key at the end, as in here. Obviously, I mean, you're taking the piss, seriously. That was just brain dead of me. Well, unfortunately, mistakes happen. This looks a bit better, but still kind of fucked. What the hell are all these numbers? So, I mean, I think I know what the results are supposed to look like. What do they actually look like? This looks correct, like, genuinely. The map thing I think was implemented correctly. The reduce, well, okay, the random order is interesting, but like, looks fine to me as well. Uh-oh. What? Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I flushed an empty previous key. Why? Why did I do that? What happened? I was trying to explicitly avoid that happening. You know, I'm appending to value buffer v key. Oh yeah, previous. Oh, for fuck's sake, sorry. Previous key is assigned literally always. My entire assertion is that previous key is literally the previous key. That's why I called it previous key. So therefore, in every iteration of the for loop, previous key needs to be assigned. Okay, gotcha. Okay, it's happening, it's happening. Test, let's go. Ooh. Pass. I did it. I did it. I mean, this is only the first bit. I'm gonna reserve my gassed I did it for a more substantial success. I do not even know if I passed the other test because it's printing all this fucking. How am I going to figure out what's going on with the printing? Let's try running debug mode and just hoping it works. Go. Okay, what's the problem? Cannot debug non-main package. Okay, so launch configuration. What we are running. I should see. What was it? Somewhere here it should run the actual what gets executed. Path to the program folder. Okay. Request. can be launch or attach. Mode, let's go with test. I don't know if that's going to do anything. Yeah, that's a stupid error. File directory name. Try GoPath. Stupid shit in it. What do I do here? I'm just going to copy in the actual folder that I'm working in. With forward slashes. Maybe this will work. What I want it to do is to run a go test command, but then also have breakpoint analysis, so that I can find out what is causing the printing. That's what I want to do. Yeah, to me this looks 100% just like somebody didn't program it correctly, as in on MIT's side. So I've moved the laptop now, but I'm still pretty... Yeah, the laptop... position of the laptop's made the camera a bit dodgy. Where's a good place to put the camera? Just out of the way. Pull down a bit. Should be okay. How much longer can I go on dealing with like random problems like this? Can I use VS Code? Can I? Probably not. Like, I mean, what I can, of course, do is try to, dig into the into Max and Ben's work to find out if they figured out what's going on. That's good. I'm gonna sit on top of the microphone. Yeah. Sorry. Dark. Well, I mean, at least it passed the test. It passed a test. I don't know if it passed the right test, because of the way that this is written. What I can do is run tests from in here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to run both of the tests. That should be working. Debug test is an interesting one. Maybe that would do what I want it to do. So success test passed, again it's printed everything to the console. Or at least I can see it passed. So test sequential single passed. That's what I clicked on, isn't it? Yes, it is. And test sequential many, I'm just clicking on that now. Let me just check if Windows Update has turned up again. Something has turned up. What is going on with the CPU? These numbers do not add up. Or do they? Yeah, here we go. Anti-malware. Oh no, I think it's Visual Studio Code is what... Man, what? Just what? Visual Studio Code is fucking up like hell. Let's run test sequential many and just hope the laptop doesn't explode. Seriously, what is wrong with it? I mean, as a general point, like, I have to say that testing is extremely non-user friendly when it comes to, well, what I mean by that is basically anyone who, you know, programs for a living, and they have to learn how to do testing, as in someone has to tell them how to do it. Like, actually, you know, using this shit for yourself requires experience. It's not something that should require experience, but it does. So, you know, whether it's Visual Studio Code or like the fucking automated test suite, I mean, just problems. What the fuck is it doing now? Is Windows Update running again? Like, I cannot understand why this is claiming to be using so much CPU, but then system idle processes. Yeah, god, that's weird. Is it throttling? It is not throttling. That's good news. Oh, it started throttling. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, this is hella fucking unproductive. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna just restart VS Code. At least we fixed this. We fixed those particular implementation problems. This is not dying. Well, it is now. Hopefully I saved everything. Well, VS Code is quite intelligent. It automatically saves things on the whole quite well. Okay, let's reload VS Code and see if we can get on with things. So let's try to run test sequential many within VS Code. It passes. And let's try running test sequential single. It freezes. Yeah, VS Code is able to run one test at a time before breaking. This is what I mean. This is why I need to find out what's printing shit so that I can literally use it in console like a normal person. Oh, look, it started. And it passed. The delay is ridiculous as well. Should we try running debug test and see what happens? Maybe if I put in a breakpoint. What is the output like? It's saying maybe. Yeah, I think possibly I need to set debug to false. And if I do that and now run git bash, which I have to reinitialize by doing this, and now I run go test run sequential. You're right, turning that off, the verbose tag does literally nothing. I thought that was what it was. In fact, this is what you want to do. Sorry, what the fuck is going on here? delay there is just out of this world. I'm definitely not using Visual Studio Code to run tests. Yeah, so starting MapReduce task test, completed, blah 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 blah, pass. So yeah, that's it, it passed. Both of the tests passed. I think if any of them had failed, it would say fail, so yeah, all good. That's part 1 done. Part 1 is done. I'm just waiting for the laptop to cool down again. Yeah, so where do we go from here? Part of me just wants to, while I have some momentum, just bang out part 2. Like, I believe it's easy. I think that's what I'll do. I'll spend about... What's happened here? Nothing. Yeah. So I'll spend about 10 minutes or so now just trying to bust my way through part 2. Okay, the CPU has chilled out, thank God. Nothing is using it up, it just needs to cool down because it's just kind of overheated because of Visual Studio Code's broken test functionality. So yeah, I am going to super quickly try to just run through the WC stuff and implement the map and the reduce function, and then I am on a break until tomorrow evening. So where are the map and the reduce function? We're in the main WC, I think. Yep. And then there's a main that actually runs shit. Let's have a look. Let's read this first because the comments seem to have been more useful on the whole than anything else. If I save this, it's going to get linted, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. Maybe because I didn't edit anything. Yeah, okay. The map function is called once for each file of input. Yep, the first argument is the name of the input file and the second is the file's complete content. You should ignore the input file name. Look only at the contents argument. The return value is a slice of key value pairs. Okay. So what does map do? Word count, canonical MapReduce example. Right, these are the functions that we are implementing. We insert code so that WCGO reports the number of occurrences of each word in its input. A word is any contiguous sequence of letters as determined by Unicode as letter. Some input files with path names of the form pg.text, and this is how you run it with those. But I mean, we're going to have it tested anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. To make testing easy for you, run this. Yeah, interesting that there are their own scripts over there, to be honest. But yeah. Okay. Review section 2 of the MapReduce paper. Your map and reduce functions will differ a bit from those in paper section 2.1. Your mapf has passed the name of a file as well as the contents. Splits the contents into words and returns a Go slice of MapReduce key value being the type that we know and love. This is the key value we've been using. Yeah, first step is it splits the contents into words, so let's do that. There was an example that I spotted while I was rooting around that already does that in the tests. The MapReduce test suite. It has a, if I look for the word field, yeah, this is basically what you want to be doing for the first step. Contents gets converted into words. What's all this? Strings needs to be imported. It was highlighted because of the defined. Well, you can choose what to put in the keys and values for the mapf. Mapf output for word count, it only makes sense to use words as the keys. Your reducef will be called once for each key, with a slice of all the values generated by mapf. It must return a string containing the total number of occurrences of the key. So this requires us to know how to implement this as a MapReduce, just globally, to have an idea of what we want the map and the reduce to do, which is okay, understandable. Why did it say string fields func here instead of just fields? Fields splits the string to one or more consecutive whitespace characters, but I think this oops. But we're not using it with whitespace. We're using it with like letters and shit. Where did I just read that? Oh yeah, sorry, I did it in place. If it throws an error, I will make a note that this should maybe be fields, field func. But for now, I'm happy to experiment with just using fields as copy it. Such a Freudian slip. Func, yeah. Yeah, like I said, if it turns out not to work, I'll fix it. But for now, I'm happy to just try it out. But yeah, we need to figure out how the MapReduce is supposed to work in the first place. It's not completely clear. So let's just have a quick flick through section 2 of the MapReduce paper. Let's have a look. It takes a set of input key value pairs, produces a set of output key value pairs. The user of the MapReduce library expresses the computation as a map function in the reduce. Right, both written by the user. Take an input pair, produces a set of intermediate key value pairs. Yeah, so this isn't really implemented correctly. MIT admitted it themselves, that this is implemented as a kind of the entire contents rather than key value pairs. So we need to decide how to convert it into key value pairs. Let me just duplicate this. We don't need this shit because we're not debugging anymore. Yeah, it gets past the contents. It should split it into words and return a go slice of key values. For word count, it only makes sense to use the words as the keys. Just who knows what the values are supposed to be. Takes an input pair and produces a set of intermediate key value pairs. Groups together all intermediate values associated with the same intermediate key, right? passes them to reduce. You know, reduce picks up an intermediate key and the set of values associated to it, and does some sort of merging process to form a possibly smaller set of values. Possibly smaller. I guess that means not bigger. Should just say not bigger. If it does mean that, it might not. Typically just 0 or 1 output value is produced per reduce invocation. The intermediate values are supplied to the user's reduce function via an iterator. This allows us to handle lists of values that are too large to fit in memory. Yeah, of course the example is word count. You know, it picks up a key value. Oh, look at this, key document name, value document contents. So that is actually quite similar to the real thing. Well, sorry, the model that we have. For each word, we emit the word, key, and 1 as the value. And then the reduce function sums them for each word and outputs the word key and the total value. I think that's it. Just from reading this, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but I mean, canonical example is canonical. I don't feel too bad about that. Should we just like try to whiz through that and implement it? I mean, it just does not seem too problematic to me. Like, I'm aware I'm overrunning slightly, but I'm willing to just try to bang it out and see if it works. Okay, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Yeah, words is strings, fields, contents. Splitting it up into letters. What the hell is this? Just started complaining about a random file that I didn't even touch. Yeah, probably just because it's not implemented. Can I just get it to ignore errors quickly? It was nice when there were no errors. Never mind, I'll just collapse them all. WC Go is the only one we care about if it gets errors, in principle, for the time being. So for word, let's iterate over every word. Words in words, as we would say in Python. In Go it's some slightly uglier shit. For words in words, what happens to each word? We emit. So I'm just doing the standard method for building these things, you know, an array, sorry, a slice, well, a list of MapReduce key values, length 0, and then we're just going to continually append to that. Right, and what we are appending is a new key value, MapReduce key value, that looks like, you know, the key is the word and the value is 1. So in the paper that I'm looking at here, the value is actually a string called 1, which I guess is fair enough because key value is in string format and Go is strongly typed like that. So we want to return output. and then the reduce function, which itself already is passed as, you know, the key plus the values of the key, returns a string. Does it return a string for that key? Was that what this is supposed to be doing? Hang on, hold up. Yeah. You know, it must return a string containing the total number of occurrences of the key. Yeah, as in... Well, we want to sum math.sum. Should we just do it manually? Because I know how to do it manually. Yep, result is going to be start with 0, and then again we iterate over. You know, reduce f receives the key, but it doesn't need to really care about what the key is, because the values need to just get added up and then sent out again. So again, we look at all the values in string. In this case, really, if I just iterated over the length of values, that would be the same result, because it's just a line of ones. Given what that is what the map function does, it literally just emits ones. But to keep it more idiomatic for how MapReduce is supposed to work, I'm going to instead just type in, you know, sum everything in values rather than just the length of values, which I may as well do, to be honest, just return the length of values in string format, because it wants a string. Yeah, laptop's finally kind of cooled down. Still pretty hot, to be honest. Okay, we range over values, and this is what we do. Result plus equals int v, which string gets converted to int. Passed, really, is the word that we want. Hopefully that will just work. And we return the string version of the result. Save! You know, this claims there are no problems. Reduce function is called once for each key generated by the map tasks, with a list of all the values created for that key by any map task. Yeah, which are literally just going to be ones, and we return one. Sorry, the sum of all the ones. And this is just, yeah, each file of input and map is called on it. You know, it splits it up into string fields, content, output, make, yeah, and then just sends out every word with one. Should ignore the input file name and look only at the contents argument. And the return is a slice of key value pairs. And yeah, I mean, I think that works, so let's test it. So we get a nice detailed test. So in bash, yep, that is working because go path is set correctly. Time go run master sequential PG. Cannot convert v type string to type int. What's going on? WC go line 35. Gotta be careful. V is of course a string. Oh no, we can't convert a string to an integer. I'm sure we can. There's some easy way of doing that, I'm sure. Convert string to int, not int to string, which is obviously trivial. Strconv. Yeah, man, like, really, this is another design decision in Go that I just do not agree with. Like, most languages you just pass the string into an integer type and it will give you what you want, as in it passes it. Just like you wrote a literal. You know, in the programming language itself, you can just type some numbers. That is text, but it gets interpreted as an integer. And so it should be possible, surely, to do a type conversion exactly the same way, to just say, like, I pass in, you know, a string, the same kind of string that I would write as an integer literal, and it gets converted to the integer that the integer literal would be interpreted as in the code. But no, it doesn't. Instead I have to import yet another package, and then run one of these random pieces of shit. I don't know what's the accepted answer. What the fuck is all this? Why is it so long? Flag.pass. We run a toy. Which absolutely has to be called with an error. I'm not happy about this language, man. I'm really not happy about it. Result plus equals error. I wonder why it didn't detect the error here. It doesn't seem to have detected. I guess if I ran the thing, it would. No, it's still not working for some reason. So if I do this, it's still not going to work for the same reason it didn't work last time. The reason being an error absolutely has to exist, which is a nightmare, really. You know, we have to do this, then we have to copy the fucking panic code. Huh. Conveniently right there, in one of the old files. Yep, and result plus equals number. Okay, run that. What happened? Cannot convert v type string to type int in line 36. Ooh, whoops, my bad. Yeah, just didn't delete the old broken code. What the hell is it doing? This does not seem to have worked. It's actually thrown a proper error. String atoy passing zigzag. Zigzag. Yeah, that's just not working. What have you done? Output equals append output, MapReduce, key value, word 1, return output. So I want to know what the output is, so please tell me. fmt.print learn output. Okay, is fmt running here? Yes, it is. Okay, this should tell you what's going on. Lol. I mean, I'm looking at the output. These are arrays. There are no commas. Go doesn't print commas, but everything looks fine. Like, every word is a key, every number is a value. Yeah, this is going to give slightly inaccurate results because of full stops and such, so you're going to have to use what they suggested here. So I can already see that. But nonetheless, I don't see what's wrong with doing it this way. Like, the map is supposed to be this and one, and reduce collects them together, and then it should add them up. So okay, so the map works fine, I think. So instead, I'm going to now test the reduce. By doing the same thing. Same thing. I'm FMT print learning. Sorry, just wanted to check that I was live. I'm FMT print learning key and values. And that is I'm not sure if that even is legit notation. Let's find out. So the map tasks are going to work out fine, and the reduce task. Zigzag and zigzag is getting passed in. The number 1 should be getting passed in there. I don't know why zigzag is getting passed in. Something I'm not understanding about how MapReduce works. Yeah, I could hack it, but I'm not going to hack it. Just like replace all of the values with 1. Not the 1. I mean, look at this. Right, it's right there, looking at me. Zigzag, zigzag. So the values associated should be 1, but they are not. And that makes me again think that the map is broken. What is output? What have I done? Wait, I'm appending two outputs. Yep, I'm appending this. So output is a bunch of key values that look like word and 1. Surely. Stupid shit. Yeah, I keep getting confused by what I'm clicking into. Yeah, sorry, I unhighlighted what I was trying to do by accident. Whoops, made a mistake. Fine, just FMT println the whole output. Or if you prefer, output 1. Like just a little bit of the output. I want that to be. Actually, yeah, let's go with output 0. It was totally correct to me. You know, the key and the value are all there. Not sure how it relates to the work I've already done. You can choose what to put in the keys and values. It only makes sense to use words as the keys, and that's fine because in the reduce section you saw that the words were coming up in the keys. But here, your reduce f will be called once for each key, yeah. Slice of all the values generated by mapf. What is mapf supposed to be outputting though? Key values. I mean, for each word W in the contents, which is processed appropriately, we emit an intermediate key value that looks like the word and one. So do you think you broke something in your... Did I do something wrong? I think I might have made a mistake if the key is coming up here. Yeah, it passed the test, but like not the right test perhaps. I mean, these are the intermediate values. Key project value 1, everything is value 1. So the intermediate files are getting processed correctly. The actual Go thing. What are we testing? Oops. What are we testing? We're running WC Go with the master sequential. So we're running WC Go, which has a main. With master and sequential, which means that we are running MapReduce.sequential. It's the thing that we just tested. So I think I made a mistake in the previous parts that needs to be fixed. Unfortunately, well, I guess it's good that I spotted it here before I thought that I'd done it right. Before the stream is over and out. At least once I've done this, I think I can be pretty confident that both of the first two parts are right, because other than the map is always going to 1 as a constant function, but like the output is, other than that, has a lot of structure, so I feel confident about using it as a test. Let's just do it then. See what's gone wrong. I think, like you say, the intermediate files look correct to me. It's just that this shit, does not work. The reduce is not working correctly, I'm pretty sure. So let's see if we can fix it. God, look at the fucking mess of files. Common reduce looks messed up, so let's find out why. It reads the intermediate files. Let's debug it by doing the following. So I'm going to remove the call to printing the output because I think that's fine. But what I'm going to do instead is print what's going on in doReduce. So every time doReduce is called, we're going to be printing a bit. Let's do it. I literally save and it gets deleted. So what I want to do here is print the states of the array. What I expect input array to look like is a list of everything that was picked up by the map function. You know, it's an array of key values, so it should be, because I haven't reduced anything yet. We have not run do reduce so far, so input array should just look like a bunch of words with the number 1 once we run the appropriate test function, which is I'm going to run it, yeah, the one that they suggested here. I'm just going to run that one. I'm not going to run it on. Yeah, actually no. I'm going to test. I'm going to do a single point test. But I'm not going to use. I'm going to use a single one of them, like Grim, because it's a short name. So my test is going to be this one. I'm just going to test it on the Grim file and see if it works out. Okay, so this looks completely correct. On the other hand, yep, before the do reduce is getting called on something that is not valid. But so far so good. I mean, the code is fine up to the point where I printed it. So I'm going to remove this. What about here? So I've sorted it. Is it still sorted? Ah, yeah, I should have saved the. Whoops. I should have saved the thing. The command that I'm running, I should save that somewhere. Let's just chuck it in the text document, a text document. You know, some test commands. Yeah, I'm gonna make a. Sorry, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm just gonna make a text document that contains commands in it, basically. Mostly for testing stuff, but you know, this is a pretty useful one. This obviously, yeah, it does require you to set the directory first, but never mind. It's just a buffer for storing stuff, right? So yeah, like I said, it is okay. Even after the sort, everything looks good. As you can see, plenty of stuff is coming up sorted. I'm not really sure what the single quotes is doing there. But I guess if I scroll down, I will see stuff that doesn't come. I swear down, not everything should have a apostrophe before it, but never mind, that's something that's going to get fixed by a later fix. Yep, okay, so where is the error? It's definitely not here. It is here. So, results is, what is returned here? Well, something is written. Enc.encode result. We're running reduce f on something that it shouldn't be called on. So, you know, every time the call to reduce f is done, something gets messed up. We are arranging over input array by value, which is correct. Let us print previous key and value buffer at the point before it fails, and test that. So yeah, here it is. It's previous key. It looks like youth. Value buffer is. we're appending keys to the value buffer instead of values. Yeah, you don't know. I found the bug. The clue's in the fucking name, isn't it? It says value buffer. It should be storing values. Okay. Cool. Well, remove this shit. I hate that I have to remove it from the import as well. And also, yeah, remove it from the actual reduce function, which also no longer needs to print anything. Copy. Mouse trouble. Paste. Seems to have worked. And what it is saying is that you should be getting some answers that are stored in MRTMP. What in the fuck is this? These are supposed to be numbers, not unpassable characters. Seriously, man? What the hell is this? Alright, yeah, okay, sorry, I forgot. You need to fix this. You just need to fix this. We're doing fields func, and the func that we are using is gonna be the isLetter thing. Is it called unicode.isLetter? It says it here, so I'm just gonna copy it in straight in. The hint here, Unicode isLetter. That's the function here. Func rune. Rune. Okay. Well, at least it gives some results now. Cannot refer to, it must be. Exported names are always in capitals for some reason. Who knows why. Okay. So what are the results now? This is the output. Oh man, what the hell is this? This looks even worse than what it was previously. It should not be returning, your reduce should not be returning this bollocks. I'm stringifying result, which is an integer. Surely if I stringify an integer, I will just get that integer. Golang converts int to string. Apparently this is also not trivial, even though I thought it was. So you have to use itoa on that as well. I cannot believe it. I have no idea what itoa even stands for. Okay. Oh shit. So let's see if that's fixed anything. Well, yeah, we have numbers now. But yeah, it's completely messing it up now. Like, I guess I don't actually know. Yeah, I don't know what. The problem here is I don't know what this function does. I tried to just use it and hope that it worked, but I don't actually know what it does. Fields func. So let's just find out what that does. Strings fields func. Come on, I want to go to, well, I'm gonna finish off the fire sanctuary and skyward sword once I'm done with this. Yeah, just because like been waiting to do that, but because I'm sort of invested in this project now, I haven't gotten around to it. Just had to convince myself to do it, but that's fine. I'll just do it now. So let's read through the example of fields func. F. So I tried to just send in Unicode his letter in, it doesn't seem to have worked. Whoops. Do I want to... If I type this, it's probably gonna not work. It's probably just gonna crash, give a syntax error, but it's worth giving it a shot. Yeah. So okay, instead I'm just gonna type out the negation of his letter is what I want. Is caps lock on? No, it's not. I'm just not seeing it correctly. Func. So we're passing in an anonymous function that takes rune as an argument. Is that right? And returns bool. That's the signature of the function. And yeah, what the function does is it returns Unicode, not his letter on the rune. That should work. I have a syntax error in 20, 27 and 34, yeah, so here. That's a parentheses error. Yeah, I literally just, this should be a curly brace. And that's a function, so I'm closing the brackets on fields func. Okay, yeah, that should work. Type rune is not an expression. My bad, that should actually say let's call it a character. Yep. So I forgot to name the variable. That worked. Yeah, it did, didn't it? More or less. The only problem with this is that capital letters are not, capital words are not, capitals are fucked basically. What you need to do is convert it to lowercase, convert all the words to lowercase. Like I'm pretty sure it wants me to do that. Like I can run this. Oh, okay, it's running it on all of them in order to do the test. Okay, fair enough. Let's just use this in order to run the tests. So this command, as opposed to this one, it just runs it for all of the example text files. And then I can run this to test if it's correct. Oh, it is. 160, yeah, 236, 1, 2. Yeah, no, these are identical, so it works. Yeah, so it doesn't actually want me to change everything to lowercase for the word count, which I find slightly odd, but Yeah, okay, that's fine. I can ride that. Yeah, and you can remove all the temporary files by doing that, and you can run the test by doing this. Shall we run the test? We have the tests ready and primed, ready to go. Let's just run them. I think it works now. Failed test output should be as in Mr. Test Out. And so it's given me a diff. I'm sorry, do you see a difference? So this is again doing the very end of the file. Control FN end. No, just control. How do I get to the end of the file? Yeah, like that. What does it say? Output should be as in Mr. Test Out. And instead it is literally exactly the same thing. Is that comparing the thing that it says here with the that's to the? Yeah, it is. But it's messing me about with some like mystery error. That's not a valid diff if it doesn't tell you what the difference is. It's not a diff at all, it's just like figure it out for yourself. Like, what's going on here? Hidden character. Like, it looks dead identical. Oh, wait. What's this? 110, column 110. Yeah, it's just a particularly dodgy bug that just needs to be figured out. I can't say I notice anything that's wrong. It could just be like CRLF instead of LF. Let me see if it is. This is in CRLF. This is in LF. Because yeah, it's supposed to be run in like Linux or whatever. So maybe it's the CRLFs that are messing it up. That's the only thing I could think of that could possibly be causing the problem here. We want it to conform to LF. Right, because the actual example, the example is in... No, we want it to conform to CRLF, sorry. Because the actual example is in LF. Okay, so let's just get it to do that. We need to specify a custom end of line character in the thing that writes the results to the file. So the thing that writes the results to the file is common reduce, right? So here it's encoding and result. And so we need to specify in the encoder that it should be doing CRLF. Let's do that. Set new line should surely be a thing that I can just run. Yeah, that looks hella non-customizable to me. Okay, instead of that, let's just run a script that. Oh my god, that's just not fixable. Okay, let's see if I can hack the test. So we are running test wc.sh, right? Which is located in main. The shell script down here. Literally, do you know what I think will get this to work? I just convert this to LF. Having looked at the code, I think that will do it. So I've converted this to LF, now I'm going to run the test again. Whoops, yes, clear the screen. Go. I knew what the error was. That's because I have experience as a programmer. I've had to deal with the different conventions between Windows and Linux for how they handle new lines in Unicode or whatever else the encoding is. So in Linux, it's new line is just new line. Also usually written as /n, \n. Whereas in Windows it's carriage return new line, /r/n, and its carriage return is some archaic shit, fuck knows what that is. I don't know why it's like that. I think Mac also has a dodgy convention where it just uses carriage return or something along those lines. It's not, I remember it's not the same as Linux. They might have changed it. They probably have, to be honest, because it's based on Unix, but yeah, so if you've ever opened like a file that should have new lines in it, but it just doesn't in Notepad, it's because Notepad doesn't recognize new lines unless they have the carriage return as well. So yeah, literally that's it, and I hacked the test slightly by changing this to LF, and that's fixed it. That's literally fixed it. If I were to do this on like MIT's test server, that's a Linux server, and so this wouldn't actually happen. It would pass anyway without me needing to change anything, because well, literally my code works in LF, and this is in CRLF purely because it was converted to CRLF when Git was downloading it. Git does that just for platform compatibility. So that's the one thing that fucks up if you run it in Windows, I guess. So far the only problem. But yeah, yes boys, it is done. It works, and so the first two parts are finished. That was what I was hoping to do today, the first two parts, finish them off. That's a whole eighth of the entire project and the first half of MapReduce done. I was hoping it would take 2 hours this session, but it took 3 hours 15. It's not really a problem. 3 hours 17 actually. It's not a huge problem. I'm gonna sort of chill now. Come back, I'm coming back tomorrow at 9, because I do want to have a bit of a break to think about what I'm doing. Tomorrow at 9, then probably the day after at 12, and then another break because I'm watching that BBC drama, The Splits. It's like decent. I don't know. My mom just watches bare BBC dramas, and so I just tag along sometimes. And so then I guess I'm back on Wednesday, unless I decide to just chill for a bit longer. I don't know. My goal is to finish the other half of MapReduce by the end of May. That gives me another 4 days, so I'm pretty confident I'm going to finish it based on how all this has gone, even though the stuff so far has been pretty easy. I've already had some fairly serious bugs in my code, but they got ironed out. A bug in the earlier part of the code that was found in the later test. So a part 1 bug found in the part 2 test, that was a bit suspicious. But it got dealt with. I knew what was wrong, I guess. Bit of practice, debugging, you know. Yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah, I'm not going to say much more. I'm just going to come back at 9 tomorrow. And then I will have some thoughts on how this is going in general as a project, having done the first eighth of it. Whether, you know, because I do have a few concerns about things like whether I'm really understanding it, having not implemented everything. I've implemented, you know, some crucial bits or whatever, but not implemented everything. How much am I actually learning from it? The test, you know, the work itself is okay. I'm kind of enjoying it, but yeah, I'm, you know, quite confused about what MapReduce does still. Maybe I'll go back and read the paper, actually, you know, skim read the paper a bit between now and tomorrow, so then I can maybe say some things about that, draw some diagrams, see if I could teach it myself, you know. But yeah, like I said, that's it. Coming back to you with thoughts, I have, you know, passed the tests on the first 2 parts out of 4, on the first project out of 4, so that's an 8th, sort of. It probably gets harder later. You know, tests passed. Unless I've read this wrong, I'm pretty sure I have done the actual genuine tests. You know, I passed this, I ran this, it said this, I checked this file, and this is just telling me how to implement it. You know, how to run it with some input files, with time as well. Oh yeah, how long does it say it's supposed to take? Like 2.59, 1.08, 0.0281. I'm getting oh, I'm not getting that because it didn't run the same command. Let me run the same command. You know, I can just chuck that in terminal. No, I can't, because Windows sucks. I can chuck it here. So let's just see what the time reports, because I'm curious. Looks a bit, yeah, I mean the times look different to how it looks here. Here it's user system elapsed, here it's real user sys. User 0, okay. System like almost nothing, and then real time. Here it's saying 2 seconds 81, I have it as 6089, which is lower, but it's not terrible. Maybe I can optimize it. But yeah, generally speaking, I can run the tests, everything is good. And yeah, I will clean this up as well, just so I don't commit too much garbage into... Well, most of the temporary files don't get committed, which is nice. But yeah, as you can see, loads of temporary files. This deletes purely temporary files and leaves in the oh, it's deleted my final output file as well. Never mind. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm happy. I've done it. All done. Cool. 9 PM tomorrow. Just passed out with my head on the bed. Skyward Sword, jumping on that. 9 PM tomorrow or today. Forever.